Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today we're back down in the basement bait shop getting ready to build a custom MHX blank, the FP885. You can see here we have just got a solid blank, nothing on it. All I did was find the spine already, but that's what we're going to build is an FP885. Here at Pickwick Lake, when I was there, I had a little mishap. The rod got stepped on, which happens. The problem is, guys, this rod, this FP885, I've never even used. I never even made a cast with it. I made it over the winter season. Got it in the boat because I was flipping a lot of bushes on Pickwick. I had like 3 or 4 of them rigged up, and this one ended up getting stepped on. Not going to say exactly how it happened, but it hurts your soul, guys, when a rod breaks that you built, because yes, there may be warranties on the blanks, but you still built the rod. You still got to build a new rod to replace it. So when you didn't even get to fish it, it really kind of blows. So we're going to take this new FP885 blank. We're going to build this so that I have it ready for when I get down to Gunnersville. You know, the FP885 is one of my absolute favorite MHX blanks. I truly fell in love with it at the first tournament when I ever completely switched over to MHX blanks. It was, I believe it was 2015 on Lake Toho down in Florida, and I had a really good tournament. It was a tough tournament. We had some cold weather that came through, and I was able to muster up some flipping bites. The first day I had 13 or 14 pounds, and I was sitting pretty decent. And the second day I went out, I was working through the area. I had 4 fish that were decent fish again. They were like 11 pounds worth of fish, but I needed that one more. And literally with 5 minutes to go in my fishing day, I caught a 7.5 pounder on the FP885. Every fish that I weighed in that tournament was on the FP885. And that was the tournament where I really realized how valuable building my own rods was adding to my fishing. So from then on, I've really been fishing well, and I've gone through a lot of FP885s. The crazy thing about it is I have probably broken a dozen rods over the last, 6 or 7 years. And I would bet you over half of those rods have been an FP885. And it's for 2 reasons. One, it's one of the rods I use all of the time. It's always on the deck of my boat. If there's a flipping bite, that's what I'm going for. But also just like tons of freak accidents. It's not the rod breaking on its own. There was one day I broke 2 of them by slamming the tips in a rod locker. There was another time when I had a co-angler stepped on one. There's just been a lot of times when I've broken them, and I don't honestly recall ever breaking one on the hook set or fighting a fish. It's always been like I stepped on it, I slammed one in the rod locker, somebody else broke it, by stepping on it. So it's been something that I've built a lot of, and I've gotten pretty good at building the FP885. But again, it's one of those rods that I always have on the deck of the boat, and it's one that I truly love, and I think it's absolutely perfect for flipping. When you're talking about a flipping rod, the biggest mistake that a lot of people choose is they go with a rod that's too fast of an action. You do not want an extra fast or a heavy fast action rod, because when you load up on a fish, if you've got a rod that's too fast and you're in too close a range, which you are a lot of times when you're flipping, you may be 10 to 20 feet away. And a lot of times you're throwing braided line as well, or heavy fluorocarbon. And when that's the case, if you have a fish that's close to the boat, you're using heavy line and you set the hook too hard, a fast action rod will pull the bait out of the fish's mouth. It'll literally blow open the fish's mouth and the bait will come out, and you'll miss a lot of hookups. If you've got more of a moderate fast, which is what the FP885, you've got more parabolic bend, the rod loads up without exploding the bait out of the fish's mouth. And therefore, that's what you're looking for, in my opinion, when you're talking about flipping. You want a rod that's got enough backbone to, lay the pipe to the fish and get that hook buried in the fish's mouth and get them out of whatever cover you're flipping. but you also want a rod that's soft enough where you're not going to blow the bait out of the fish's mouth and you're going to get those good hookups. And that's what the FP885 is. It's not a super heavy flipping rod, meaning it's not something that I would necessarily punch hyacinth mats with or fish really heavy cover, but it's perfect for almost everything up to those ranges. I will flip mats with them. I would rather go up a little bit in a stronger rod if I were going to do that, but it's really built for almost everything. You know, they're rated for baits anywhere from 3/8 ounce to 1.5 ounce, but I will even pitch a lot lighter than that. I'll go down to like a quarter, and even lighter based on whatever bait it is that I'm using. So you've got the touch in the rod to allow you to work a smaller bait, but at the same time, if you want to go up to 1.5 ounces, which gets you into that punch range, you definitely can do it. But for me, the FP885 is a blank that I use from everything from just pitching wood and laydowns up to pitching pretty heavy vegetation, whether it's milfoil or getting into some of the thicker growing vegetation like your cattails and your bulrushes, that type of thing. I definitely will use it. But if I know I'm going to be punching all day long, then I go with something a little bit heavier that's built more for punching specifically. But if you have not used an FP885, if you build your own rods and that's something that interests you as a good flipping rod, I definitely think you should look into the MHX FP885. A really good all-around rod, and that's what we're building right now. Old Muskie. Golly. Oh. Not even a big one. Well guys, the FP885 isn't just a bass rod. It's a muskie rod too. Nice, probably 34-incher. You ready, girl? Well, as you can see, it is definitely a stout enough rod to handle some muskies. The FP885, one of my favorite rods. Whew, now I'm all slimed up. Booyah! I think it's got a broken bill. Ah, bummer. Well, we'll still put it on our wall with all the other baits. I think we got another one. The old Berkeley flicker shad, number 2. Yeah, the main channel is like 45 right now, so normally you'd be able to fish that whole shoreline for like a mile downstream. And I get out there, dude, I got one. And the discharge is turned off. Hey, let me call you back. This is a nice big smallmouth. Let me call you right back. That's the kind we're after, guys. 4-pounder on the old FP-885. Talking to Johnny Schultz. He always brings good luck when I talk to him on the phone. That's a nice 19-inch fish. God, that's a nice one. Guys, that's why you make the FP-885. I don't care if you're fishing smallmouth, spotted bass, largemouth. This FP-885 is just a phenomenal reel for flipping and pitching. It's perfect for anything from, you know, laydowns to logs to even grass. You can punch with it if you choose. In this case, I'm gonna let go this 19+ inch fish, probably almost 20-inch smallmouth. Finally got a good one today. All right, well, we're gonna keep at it. The water temp back in this area is so much warmer than where I had been fishing, so I think it's only gonna get better. Maybe not better in terms of piles and number of fish, but I think we'll get a couple more bites. So let's get back at it. Smallie buried up in there. Nice 2-pound smallmouth. Chunky. Probably a 16-incher. This is the type of stuff that I'm fishing, guys, with this rod. You know, it's not like heavy-duty punching, but it's just nice laydowns, lots of various brushy type piles, all kinds of stuff that you need a little bit stouter rod to get into, but you don't have to be throwing like a heavy duty punching rod. You know, I want something that's strong enough it's going to get the fish out of there, but it's also not overkill. You know, this is a rod you can throw all day with no problems at all. I mean, it's just a super comfortable rod. It's a 7.4, so it's not huge, so you can pitch around with a lot of these overhanging trees and things that we've got in our way here. Just one of my favorite all-around pitching rods. I keep saying it, but it really is the truth. Oh, another muskie. Oh. Golly. He's not even that big. They are mean little fish. Well, big fish, but this one's not that. This one's about probably a 32. You gotta watch them teeth right there. Look at them teeth. Two muskie, two bass. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video on the MHX FP-885, the build and fish. Guys, this was one where the water temp's really cold still here in north central Wisconsin, 45-degree range. So we didn't get a ton of bites. We were out for about 4 hours, but we did catch 2 nice smallmouth, 2 decent muskie, and had a fun day on the water. We had a nice day overall. But if you're looking to build a good flipping rod, something that's heavy enough to get the fish out of thick cover, but also light enough to throw all day long, you need to check out the FP-885. It's one of my favorite MHX blanks, and it's something that I use every time out on the water. I've always got a couple of them rigged up. So I hope you enjoyed the build. All of the dimensions you can find either earlier in the video or at the in the description of the video. I've got it put out there for you, so check that out. All of the different part numbers as well, so you can build the exact rod to the specifications that I use. Check it out, guys, if you're looking to build a good flipping rod. FP-885 by MHX. Stay tuned, guys, we got another video coming out tomorrow.